What's up, everybody? Etchy here from Dead Draw Gaming, bringing you a brand new video. Today, we're going to be showcasing a Gardevoir EX mirror match between two Gardevoir experts, Jake Gearhart and Gabriel Smart. Gardevoir EX is getting more and more popular as an incredibly strong play right now for your local tournaments, so we recorded this to help you all learn how to approach this incredibly intricate and complex matchup. Players will be working collaboratively and talking through their thought process to help you become a better player. If you enjoy this video and want to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and let us know in the comments below. Now let's get into the video. All right, welcome everybody to this Gardevoir versus Gardevoir show match between Gabriel Smart and Jake Gearhart. Gabe Smart just recently got top 8 at Dortmund with Gardevoir. Gabe, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to play some Gardevoir mirror match, kind of go over it and, hopefully help some people out. I know we still have some tournaments coming up with this format, so, definitely some useful content here.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, this is a very popular deck, especially at local level right now. Jake, longtime Gardevoir advocate. Jake, how we doing?
I'm doing good.
Who did you just win the coin flip? Is that what I just saw?
Yes, yeah. I want to get two
Oh, the
mulligans.
mulligans.
Okay. I
Very
guess I'm
exciting.
drawing them.
A couple mulligans there.
So as we're getting into this, what are your initial thoughts just on how you approach this matchup? Let's start with Jake.
Yeah, so Gardevoir Mirror is I'd say probably the most complicated matchup in the format. They're also like Lost Box can be sometimes as complicated, but yeah, there's a lot of tech cards that like change what goes on. One of them is the Avery, which I have in my hand. Gabe's list doesn't play the Avery. Mine does play Avery, but Gabe has the option of Cresselia, which I don't have access to. So those are like the main differences in the matchup. But yeah, the first thing you always check for is how many Curlias you've prized, and if you got Mirage Step. And so I have unfortunately prized one of my refinements, but I do have access to the Mirage Step. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and bench a couple Ralts with the VIP pass. There's it's very interesting to choose whether you're gonna bench, like how much you're gonna bench. It's like pretty safe to bench a couple of them because you don't want to like leave yourself in a bad spot if you like draw into a refinement Curlia. But you don't want to like overbench and completely lock yourself out of the Mirage Step. So I think I'm just gonna leave it with the two Ralts and then. But actually, I do have Candy Guard EX in my hand, so I could play for the turn two Gardevoir EX. There's a lot of different intricacies with this matchup. So yeah, either way, I'm gonna attach, and then I think since I did prize a Curlia, I don't really care that much if I like lose out on one step bench space. So I'll go with the Ralts bench and maybe try and play aggressive here if I get to keep my hand.
Yeah, one of the important things for sure is, sometimes you get put in those, situations where maybe you have to bench like a Radiant Greninja on turn one, or, something that can't necessarily Mirage Step. So it's really, really important to try and get turn one energy onto that Ralts because if you play against, an experienced player, they might like recognize that you're clearly going for Mirage Step and potentially try and, strand a Greninja in the active spot. Specifically, something that you can sometimes do in the mirror match is if they don't attach an energy on turn one and they bench something like Radiant Greninja, you can look to use the boss's orders. So definitely some cool little plays and stuff like that that you can pull off. So um okay, so starting off here, I have a little bit of a awkward hand. I definitely just want to get myself down a second Ralts just to be safe. I have a couple options here on what I can discard. Jirachi and Gardevoir kind of seem like the easy decisions, or Moonlit Hill as well. Moonlit Hill is really good versus decks like Lost Box and sometimes the Gardevoir matchup, but I don't think it's as necessary here as it could be. And now there's a little bit of a tricky decision. I'm gonna get rid of the Jirachi just because in this spot here, I don't know exactly if they're playing Cresselia or not. I would say most lists I would say aren't playing Cresselia. I'd say most lists. I feel like it's about a 50-50 split, between the Cresselia or not. But Cresselia is not as good as some people might initially think because some people get overly aggressive with the Cresselia, and they use it too many times and their energies get kind of split. And then you can maybe look for like a Gardevoir EX attack, knowing that they, can't, take a knockout the next turn because they've, split their energies. So that's always something to look at for sure. But Jake has probably been in that position, where, like you recognize, okay, like the opponent has split their energies way too much, and then you can, kind of punish them for that. So Cresselia is good, but not always um, the game changer for sure. And yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna Iono here.
a lot of times, like towards the end game, yeah, if your energy's too spread out, an opponent could like not be able to get enough energy into the discard to one hit KO Gardevoir EX. So like one situation is if Screamtail gets like 4 energy on it. A lot of the times you'll want to like gust around the Screamtail if you can to keep the energy trapped, because that's a lot of wasted energy. Um, and yeah, that comes up fairly often.
Yeah. So I think in this situation here, I'm probably just gonna attach. I'm gonna assume there's no knockouts coming from Jake's angle. I am considering Fall Crystal here just to get myself a second Ralts or a third Ralts, because if I have to use the refinement, I do run the risk of drawing into another refinement. I have all of them in deck, and I don't think it necessarily hurts a whole lot to get myself this Ralts down. If Jake is able to pull off, potentially a Screamtail knockout as well, I definitely want this extra Ralts down on the field in this situation. And I also have an extra Fog Crystal as well. One of the, I guess, differences between my list and a lot of other players' lists is I do have that extra Fog Crystal. So using one like a little bit earlier doesn't hurt as much. So what are your thoughts on that Fog Crystal here? Just, for the extra Ralts.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with it. Even if like you're not forced to evolve the Kirlia, like you happen to draw into an Iono next turn at the top of your draw, you still have like the option to have both those Ralses, and like you're not really gonna get punished for benching two. If you bench all three like I did, it's possible. Like especially if you didn't prize any Kirlias,
Sure.
that's just too much bench space allocated, but with one Kirlia in hand that you like have a guaranteed evolve on, or it gets put at the bottom of the deck with Iono, you'll most likely end up evolving one of the Raltses, and then since you're the player going second, you'll lose a Ralts before you end up attacking. So then you'll only have one Ralts that's extra in play, and that's like the perfect amount.
Yeah, so I guess one of the interesting things here is I do see some people like to use the teleportation burst. I'm not a big fan of it because it gets that 10 damage onto the field, which pretty much means that Cresselia needs one less energy to be able to, deal exactly 70 damage to, one of those Raltses. So in these situations, I typically just like to pass. What are your, kind of like, I guess, like overall thoughts on, that decision? Because I do see some people that, decide to do the 10 damage.
Yeah, I definitely agree on passing, and like the 10 damage, like setting it up, it very rarely matters. Like maybe you can Cresselia for 60 damage or something, but usually you're gonna be targeting down a Curlia, and if you're not able to target down a Curlia, you're gonna be in a rough spot regardless. But it also like puts pressure on you to find an energy in addition to the Mirage Step Curlia, which is something that you're not necessarily forced to do if you just keep the Ralts with the energy in the active.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
And I unfortunately drew a Curlia refinement one off of that Iono, so I do have to evolve one of them. Um, but my hand was looking pretty rough anyway, so getting an extra refinement is definitely beneficial. And then I'm just going to go for the Mirage Step here. There's also a very interesting situation here where I have a reversal energy in my hand. So I could put it on the active Curlia so that when I draw, ideally I draw into Shiny Arcana Gardevoir, and then I can attack without putting a Gardevoir EX in play at all, and maybe can keep up attacks for a little while without any Gardevoir EXs. But usually that's better if you're not the aggressor player and you're able to get that situation where you have like a powered up Shiny Arcana with no Gardevoirs, because it's very hard to get a one shot so early in the game. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna go for the Mirage Step, save the reversal, which is a very valuable resource. If it was just a basic Psychic Energy, I probably would have attached it to my active, just to give the option of not evolving one of my refinements into Gardevoir EX, so I can have an extra turn of one more draw and just attack with the Shining Arcana with 3 basic energies.
Sure. And I guess one other thing as well is that sometimes when the Gardevoir player, goes second and they know that they're kind of like that turn behind, what they'll try and do is they'll try and, like potentially get that rare candy Gardevoir after the opponent has used the Mirage Step, pretty much just saying, I'm not going to Mirage Step this game. I'm going to go for rare candy Gardevoir. So like there's sometimes could be an argument if you expect that as a real possibility to maybe attach the energy to the active to try and decentivize them from sniping, I guess, the important Curlia. But it's not something you necessarily always need to do for sure. So
I,
I personally drew into my second refinement Curlia, which is not the end of the world. It's definitely not an ideal situation to be in. But in this spot here, I'm still kind of just looking to Mirage Step. I really want to um, use the Mirage Step because one of the important things is you want to be able to have multiple routes on the field that then you can just instantly like evolve straight like into with something like super rod. You can go super rod level ball, as soon as one of your um Curlius gets knocked out. So that's why it's, pretty important to, try and get that Mirage Step off because you get to save your waltzes, and this matchup is so built around board state. There have been many games where I have fallen behind in this matchup where I've been able to, fall behind like one or two prizes, but I just had the better board state. And like I was able to, make the comeback. So board state is everything. So, that's another reason why the Mirage Step is just so, so important. And also, obviously, not prizing Curlia, but sometimes that happens. So I think I'm just going to use the refinement here. I'm not going to evolve this Curlia just yet, just because if I draw into something like an Iono, then I would ideally like to Iono that back to the bottom so I don't have to evolve this Ralts here. So just always seems pretty good to do that. So I'll
there
draw two
was
here.
something I wanted to ask about your last turn really quickly, Gabe.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of players, when you're using that fog crystal, would have decided to just put down the artisan to grab the Ralts instead. Obviously, that opens up your opponent being able to use it. So what was kind of the logic for not going that route?
Yeah, so Artisan is a really, really important card in this matchup because when their Screamtails get like knocked out, like if they have like Cresselias, it just takes off a lot of pressures so that they don't have to go Super Rod and then also have like a Ball Search card. So that was
Hmm.
kind of the reason. As I said, as well, I also have an extra um, Fog Crystal in the deck, so I'm able to kind of use them a little bit less, I guess, carefully.
Sure, sure.
Like yeah, like just because I have an extra one, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Uh, yeah. In this situation here, a little bit of a scary spot to be in. I'm gonna have to refinement here. So in this situation, Jake, I have the option to discard the Zacian and the energy. I personally think that the energy is probably the safest discard, but just I guess kind of from your angle, what do you like to do here?
Yeah, I think I'd go with the Zacian because you
Okay,
really want to get an attachment on the active and Mirage Step. Because assuming I find my Screamtail, um,
sure.
then one of your benched Curlies is going to go down, and you don't want to have to evolve the other one into an EX right away. You'd rather have the option of both Curlias. So then you can evolve the active into Shiny Arcana and attack right away as the option.
Yeah, I
And
guess it's true. Yeah.
you're usually gonna be playing a Super Rod at some point for just a Ralts and Curlia, so like having one Pokemon in the discard pile is fine there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's definitely it's not like a completely straightforward decision, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of a lot of not completely straightforward decisions with this deck.
for
That's the
sure.
entire matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up missing the Mirage Tip here. Now, I have a couple other Pokemon in the deck. So this is where like I'm gonna put down the Artisan because it's just kind of like I missed what I wanted to do here. However, I can get myself another Ralts or the Manaphy here. So this is kind of a tricky, situation. I could put down Manaphy and then teleportation burst in this situation or just attach and retreat. This is a really weird spot because I am concerned about Screamtail in this situation. I don't have access to my Jirachi because I tossed it away. So I think the safest option here is probably just to get the Manaphy and sacrifice the Manaphy. I do have both my super odds left as well. So in my situation here, this is personally what I would do, just because it's all about protecting your Curlias. It's super, super important, to try like and protect those Curlias. And if you know they don't play the Cresselia, this is a play that you can, typically make on that second or third turn of the game where you can kind of be like, okay, I assume that they don't play, something like the Cresselia because I didn't see that in that first game. I feel more comfortable dumping the Jirachi, potentially, not necessarily worrying about that and just fully trying to prevent the Screamtail. So I have an energy here. I can just kind of attach it, I think, to this Ralts because Um, a
I think
reason here, or we could
you
attach it
also might
to.
you also might want to just hold it this turn so you have good refinements next turn because
I
your
could
hand's going to
also,
be very stacked of good cards.
yeah, sure, we'll try that. So like
Um,
the 10 here, I think I want to hold the energy on it. So okay, so the argument here of attaching the energy and then teleportation bursting is that I probably I probably can toss away something. Um like the top deck would have to be something really good that like I couldn't toss away, and then I'd be in a situation where I could have gone rare candy arcana, attach psychic for turn. Which I guess would be my potential argument for attaching the energy there.
Yeah, that's true as well. Um, so yeah, my hand on this side is pretty stacked for this turn because I've got the boss's orders. So normally, as the player who's like going ahead, you really don't want to use your boss's orders early because one of the best things you can do is just push that like advantage towards the end of the game before things get too out of control. And you like since you won't have access to counter catchers. Um, you'll have access to your boss's orders to close things out. But I think since Gabe only has two Curlias, it's too impactful to not go for the boss's orders this turn. But I'll start off with my refinements, and I've actually got some tricky ones here as well.
Probably
I
ninja.
could, yeah, that's what
I think it
I'm
has to
leaning
be.
towards. It's either Ninja or Jirachi. But yeah, since I only have two Curlias, I think it's the Greninja.
Yeah,
Um,
Ninja's not an incredible card in this matchup. It's not as good as, some of the other things, like that. Like you can bench because you really want to have as many Ralts and Curly as, and stuff like that on the field, as like early as possible. Like a lot of the time that last bench spot is saved for, like that Jirachi or Manaphy. So only bench the Greninja, I think, in this matchup if you absolutely have to. I think, a lot of people get a little bit too bench, happy. Like they like to fill up their bench like really, really quickly. Things like Ninja always hit the board. And in this matchup, it's actually not a great card. It's decent towards the end of the game, but early game, it's not amazing.
yeah, so I've got another refinement here. This one's also a bit tricky. I think it's going to be the Jirachi this time. I also do want to keep it around. It could actually be the counter catcher, but I don't want to lose two gust effects in the same turn. It could be a rare candy as well. But I think the Jirachi's the least like important card to have. Because knowing Gabe plays uh, Cresselia and Screamtail, he has the option of both of them. And so it's like difficult to protect from both at the same time, especially considering my position right now with only one bench space available. So I won't be able to get the protection early, but eventually I might have been able to. So yeah, I have. I'm probably gonna have to use this last bench spot on a Screamtail this turn to get a good attacker. I could go in with the Gardevoir EX, which isn't bad. And maybe that's actually even the best option here. Just attack with the Gardevoir EX because it's very unlikely to be punished. And then I'll get ahead an extra turn, even if it just takes a damage. Yeah, what do you think about that, Gabe?
Yeah, I think you definitely just want to get the KO here, really targeting down. I think the Curly is worth it. Yeah, and this is actually something that I'll mention. Sometimes if I know they play Cresselia and also the Screamtail, sometimes if I'm able to Mirage Step for the three Curlias, I'll just pretty much fill my board entirely with, Ralts and Curlias. Like if I know they don't play Avery and stuff like that, like I'll just go full board. And sometimes I'll just say, I don't care about Manaphy or Jirachi because regardless of which one I put down, I don't have bench space for both of them. You're still going to be able to target my bench. And I just entirely focus on making sure I have, four Curly on the field, as many Arcanas on the field, and I'll just literally make my board all psychic type Pokemon. So like that's another reason as to why I think, tossing away the Jirachi seemed fine. And then obviously in the spot here, it's a little bit tricky because you do have to use that boss. That's always like personally my like biggest fear is like if I use boss's orders early game and like my opponent is able to set up, through that boss's orders, they're kind of able to survive that. I'm playing a game with a lot less control over the board state. And I've ran into those situations as well. Like I've played games versus players like um James Cox before. And I've ran into that situation where I had to use my boss's orders early in the game and he was really able to kind of play around the knowledge of the boss and like was not there, and that's something that you kind of run into.
Yeah, so I have the option here to either attack with Gardevoir EX or the Screamtail. I think I'm gonna go with the Gardevoir EX, even though I
So
lose the reversal energy attachment here, which is why it was a bit of a trickier decision. But I don't think I'm gonna have to use the reversal. And yeah, like Gabe was saying, if Gabe had one extra Curlia in play, so he would be left with two after I take this KO, then I would not have gone for the boss's orders because as the player going up in prize cards, like the boss's orders is just so valuable. But what this does here is locks Gabe out of the potential of using a Shiny Arcana to attack this turn. And so when I get this Gardevoir up in the active, it's like not threatened by anything at all.
yeah, I'd have to hit rare candy, but like in this situation, you kind of just need to put the pressure on and say you need to hit absolutely everything to be able to pull this off. And in this situation, it's very, very like unlikely, especially with me having one psychic in the discard pile. It's just very unlikely, that I'm gonna be able to pull that off. So, in this situation, I honestly might just hit with a Gardevoir EX of my own. Definitely a very, very shaky spot to be in. I think I'll promote the Ralts just to give me the opportunity if I draw into like the rare candy and like I draw into perfect things off these refinements. It like would give me a little bit of an option, and I don't hate tossing the energy away too. So
Yeah, even a
um
Screamtail attack here wouldn't be terrible.
not terrible.
Yeah, just to
Yes.
preserve your Gardevoir EX, but yeah.
Yeah, probably my best option here. I do have one Ralts in the discard, one in the active, so 2, 3. Okay, so kind of faced in an interesting situation. I could artisan first. Normally, artisaning first is not always great because you want to draw and see exactly what you get first before you make that decision. But I think in this situation, because I have a dead hand, I need to get really aggressive and try and find something like an Iono. So I think I'm just going to artisan here first, just to thin out. And I only have a Cresselia actually here. So I prized my Screamtail from the looks of it. But I can try and Cresselia, but I don't think I have enough. I have 1, 2, 3. If I refinement into, huh? So I need 4 Pokemon anyways to get this. So it's probably just better to get Ralts here because I would need 4 Pokemon anyways. So I think we'll just get Ralts. And if I draw into Cresselia, then I have the full thing. But
Yeah, the only argument is like the level ball can find the Ralts instead of the Cresselia. Um, so that might be a reason to go for the
that'd be
Cresselia, so
the
you have extra Ralts
yeah.
out. But you have the counter catchers in hand, so like worst case scenario, you've got an attack on knocking out one of my Curlias.
Yeah. And also I'm really just trying to maximize just finding some type of draw supporter as well. Like I just need to find something like Iono in this situation to be able to maximize. And yeah, actually kind of what you just said here, it ended up happening. I do have access to another refinement. However, the issue that I run into is that then I'd have to damage myself. But I guess it's probably okay to evolve into the active here. Um, and then refinement. So it's probably fine still to do that. Because I get 20 damage on myself. And then if I hit Cresselia, I hit Cresselia. Because I would be dumping 2 energies. So what do you think about just like using the level ball here, just getting the if I have
Yeah, I think you could also go for like the late Mirage step here,
yeah,
but I think the prize card's like more valuable. Like falling
I
two
agree.
prizes behind with this board state is just not good
It's not
enough.
good. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you could definitely get the refinement, but then the question is like you could you could retreat into the Curlia and just accept that you're going to attack with the Gardevoir EX this turn,
Yeah.
or a Shiny Arcana if you hit the reversal energy off this refinement. Um, but I think leaving the option for the Cresselia open is probably worth it. So I'd wait on the
Yeah.
retreat.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna evolve first because I get the 2 energy on it. I get to damage myself most importantly, which means that later on I'm not gonna have to commit energies. So I think this is probably just fine. It does admittedly take away from the reversal play, but I think Cresselia is very good here. Because the most important thing that it does is that it protects my draw engine, and that's like the biggest value behind things like Streamtail and also Cresselia is that I'm able to take knockouts in these situations. And I am protecting the draw engine, like which means things like Iono, because this matchup typically is like Iono's being used over and over again. So and at least having that option here. And yeah, like I did not end up um getting the Cresselia. I had the option to attack with the Arcana, but I'm honestly okay with it. I'm okay, making that decision here to be able to, kind of take the risk. Because I'm also falling behind as well. And typically when you fall behind, this is kind of just like a mentality thing in general, is I feel like it's reasonable to attempt to take, like risks in this situation. So um damaging this Curlia is pretty, it's not a big deal because I'm falling behind so much. If we look at the math here, 90, 20, 50, 180, 210, 240, 270. So if I put 60 on, it doesn't really matter, honestly, a whole lot, right, with the damage.
Yeah,
So
no, 20 on there is fine because you need one less energy to get 270. You need like the 5 basics and then reversal gets you there. So
yeah, putting the
um,
20 doesn't seem too, yeah, seems fine. Doesn't really hurt any math. All right, and then we'll retreat. All right. Gardevoir. Touch return. Also, I'm holding that reversal energy as well, too. So, um, one other thing as well is typically you always want to try and knock out the Curlia that doesn't have the Ralts under it, because that means that the opponent's Super Rods are significantly weaker, because it means that when they use Super Rod, they're not also getting back the Ralt. So that's something too. And then we'll counter catcher. Take out the Curlia without the Ralts on it. And then I will just Miracle Force.
and then at the start of my turn, I'm going to always be promoting my Gardevoir EX, even though I might not end up attacking with it. I just need to get the psychic energies off of it and into the discard pile. So retreating as like a resource that you can use to move around your energies is an important thing to think about. So yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do here, I'm definitely not gonna be playing an Iona this turn. So I think I'm just gonna start off with the Avery. I could dig for a worker though to see if I can bump the artisan and save around my Avery for later. Um, and then I can also use the artisan to find something first because I just want to draw into energy cards mainly this turn to see if I can push for any one-hit KOs as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely makes sense here. Typically I'm just trying to get as many energy in the discard pile as quickly as possible. It makes things a lot like easier, especially towards the end of the game, like when you're trying to put together like those knockouts. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what I would think.
think I think I'm just gonna go for the Avery here. Or I could yeah, because I wanna get a refinement on a psychic energy ideally. So yeah, I hope to draw into one with this. Yeah, no energies yet. Um, so yeah, I'll just be forced to refinement away probably the level ball or could be the Zacian, but I
Would you ever
really
level
want to
ball
keep the
for a
Zacian
Mew
around.
or
Yeah,
anything
I
just
could
to thin
I
out?
could yeah, Mew since Mew's in the deck, I should definitely get rid of that.
Yeah.
Um yeah, like with Garver, you don't really want to like waste your level balls a lot of the time because they are like great resources, but if you're going to refinement them anyway, yeah, obviously uh thinning out something else in order to refinement is a good thing. So yeah, here I don't have really much options, which is good for Gabe here. So if I attack with this Gardevoir EX in the active, it's pretty vulnerable, I think, to getting knocked out in return, and I don't want that. So I think I'm just going to end up Dreamtailing into the active this turn. Um, I'm not sure if there's a better play. I also have this Moonlit Hill in my hand, which I can use to heal my Gardevoir EX, which I think is probably all right. But yeah, I'm just gonna go for the retreat and attack with the Screamtail just to set up the damage on the active. I would have liked to attack with a Shining Arcana here probably, but this is fine. Yeah, this is a very weird position in the
Yeah, it's
game.
an
Like,
interesting game. So I guess I have
um,
a question here. So in this spot, I think it's probably okay. There is an argument to level ball here because your board is very fragile, and getting Manaphy would prevent Screamtail from being an issue on one of your Curlias. Because I feel like if I Screamtail you back here, your board is like if I find Iono, your board could just fall apart.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree with the Manaphy bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because if I know Gabe is playing the Cresselia and would have access to it, then it's a bit more like difficult of a choice. But I think preventing one of those options is definitely worth it here.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm also. Oh, actually, yeah, I can't really go for the Moonlit Hill anymore to heal my Gardevoir, but I could have done that before I put the energy on the Scream Tail, but I'm worried about. We have to worry about the timer on here.
Yeah,
Sadly,
I was
it's
about to point out, Gabe,
ticking down.
you're already down to 8 minutes. So just...
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
one
gonna
of the
have to
things
start
also,
play lightning speed.
yeah, we're gonna start playing faster. Yeah, one of the things about like Moonlit Hill, is it actually really helps when you're kind of ahead in games. I think that's like one of the big things. Is it helps out, like when you have leads, it kind of helps you like protect those leads, because sometimes you can run into situations where when your reversal energy is not active, you aren't able to reach knockouts with the Shining Arcana. But if you have the lead, and you're able to heal 30 off, get that extra energy onto Shining Arcana, knowing you don't have the reversal energy, it definitely can pop up as a useful card to have. So pretty easy decision. I think I'm just going to refinement away the VIP pass, drawing 2 cards, looking for something. I do draw into the Greninja. Now, admittedly, I would prefer not to dump reversal energy, so I think I'm probably going to, in this spot, um, evolve into Arcana here.
I think
Um,
you could even just retreat and attack with Cresselia if you have enough energies. I'm not sure if you do. I haven't.
yeah, so I do have enough. The argument for this
Yeah.
would, so I could Super Rod back Curlia and try and get the second one on the field. But I
Oh
think that
yeah, yeah.
Cresselia is always the correct play here. Yeah. But that's just my opinion here. I feel like if I can get Arcana and another Curly on the field, I feel like I'm okay. But then I do run the risk of counter catcher, and that's like the problem here. Is that if I miss Curlia and then you KO my only Gardevoir, I then have to find Candy. But I do have this reversal sitting around, and since I am gonna take the lead, I might not need this one. So um, I think there is an argument here for me to put back Curly or Ralt Zacian. Um, and then Gardevoir, if I miss, I can then Greninja, draw 2 more cards. But that's
Um,
personally what I would do in
yeah,
this
yeah.
situation.
I agree. Thinking about it more, since you have the Super Rod, it's
Yeah,
worth it. But I think we're gonna have to start actually playing fast and
yeah,
not going through our thoughts anymore. Sadly,
yeah,
because we've already
just start
uh
talking during Jake's turn. It's all good.
yeah.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
we might
hold on a
not even
second.
have enough time to take 6 prize
No,
cards.
it'll be fine. Look, don't worry. Once Pokemon TCG Pocket comes out, I'm sure we can do friend matches on that without the timer issue. We'll be fine.
All right, so I did get myself the Iono here, which is quite good actually. I can use the Iono. Don't need to bench the Ninja anymore. All right, get the refinement. All of that. This is a really tricky spot here because I don't want to get rid of anything here. But I think we'll just Fog Crystal for the Rolts. I honestly have 3 Level Ball. There is an argument just to get energy and get greedy here because I have still 5 in the deck. 3, 4, 5. Like getting this Rolts Curly then is pretty unimpactful. Yeah, I think that's fine because I have no candies right now. Did I prize any? Refinement. Yeah, I prized 2 candies. Okay. That's what I prized. All right, draw 2.
But yeah, Gabe's in the yellow on the timer now.
I don't think I've ever seen
Crazy.
that in
Yeah, it's
Survivor.
crazy.
Yeah, luckily we've only got Gabe's got to play 3 turns in 4 minutes.
Easy.
That's getting tricky.
That's not hard at all with Gardevoir. It's all good.
Yeah, especially with the psychic embrace taking at least
10
30
seconds.
seconds
Yeah,
every time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get friend matches without timers soon, but it is now your
Yeah.
turn, Jake. Let's see it.
Yeah, I got my 12 minutes, which is
A
a
little
big
bit more time,
relief.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like if
Yeah,
you want to just do stuff, Gabe, and then explain what you did after the fact during
Yeah,
Jake's
yeah,
turn,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
definitely feel free to do that.
Okay, so yeah, on my turn right now, I'm thinking about what was Iono to the bottom of my deck. So I really need to find a super rod this turn to start recovering my my Curlias. And I know that there was no super rod on the bottom of my deck, and like about 10 cards got put there. So I'm gonna start off without playing any of these searching cards and without using Artisan, just with the Shining Arcana. Um, I do hit an energy here. I'll go ahead and put that on the Gardevoir. I can't see what the other card is though yet. Oh, it's an Artisan. Not very useful. Yeah, maybe if I can just. I think I have to get Greninja here to start digging for something. So I'll need to keep one of the energies around, and then getting rid of the Artisan is fine. Oh wait, I got rid of my Greninja.
Yeah, I was about to
Okay,
say, I was like, I think you got rid of
forgot
it
about
here.
that. Yeah. Yeah, so not much to do here. Yeah, either way, I'd want to thin because my hand is like
Yeah.
pretty terrible. Um, so yeah, I don't have access to much. I can grab the Zacian. Like I kind of want to leave the Arcana in the deck so that if I draw like if I get Ionoed into Rare Candy and then Arcana, like that's an out. But I also could top deck Rare Candy. Um, so I might want to put this in my hand now. Oops. Yeah, okay, I can't click the back. Yeah, I'll just go with that. And then I think my only option here really is to Screamtail the Cresselia. Um, and so yeah, you can see how easily like a good position from Gardevoir. Like my start was much better than Gabe's. Can turn into something that's a lot worse.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think all I'm gonna do here is just go for the Screamtail. And yeah,
Yeah. So it's
so
weird
now,
here.
yeah, I'm playing from the position of being behind, but I'm also down a reversal, and my board is pretty bad. Now, suddenly Gabe's board is better than mine because it's his turn currently. So, yeah, maybe the timer will bail me out on this game.
Yeah, I think at this point, this is a weird situation. I
Yeah, you
think I
got
don't really want to
4
use another.
minutes left.
Yeah, I think we're just probably gonna. It's a weird situation. I think I don't know here. I don't really need any of the cards. I'm just so okay. So like at this point, I'm just trying to find energies to dump. Like that's all I'm just pretty much trying to do. And also Super Rod. If I can find Super Rod, that'd be ideal. Because I can Super Rod. I'd actually love just to Screamtail here. However, I prize Screamtail, which is quite annoying. Or else I would just be poking here, and I'd be feeling pretty confident about the situation that I am in. So, um, here I think I'm just going to attach. Now I'm in an interesting spot. I could attack with EX. They'd go to 2, then I would go down to 1. What do you think of that, Jake?
Yeah, I don't mind that, especially because the Gardevoir is always already pretty damaged, so it's like it's not very much of a commitment, and I'm gonna be behind, so all I need is like a counter catcher, and then I have to knock out right away. Um, and Gardevoir is like by far your best like attacker here. You don't really want to put anything else up with like damage yet. So yeah, I don't mind this. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. I
Um,
actually think about it a little bit more. I could have attached the reversal here, knowing that you probably want to take this KO. So something I could have maybe done a little bit differently. Now, keeping it also technically gives me more options, but yeah. Let's see.
yeah, so I think this turn, since I'm going to be going ahead again, I really want to play this Moonlit Hill down. But at the same time, I want to keep the Artisan so I can draw into um, more outs to my Raltses. I think I'm going to start off with the Shiny Arcana because I know there's going to be a Super Odd, like pretty close to. I guess I shuffled my deck last turn, so. But I have a ball in hand, so I really want to be able to find the Super Rod and then recover my attackers. Okay, so I did find Avery's like a bit interesting here, but I definitely want to play the Iono. I think I have to leave the Artisan in play so that I can recover a Ralts if I get the Super Rod. But at the same time, I want to heal my Gardevoir EX and get extra energies in the discard. Um,
Having that
it's a
reversal
bit
on the guard was
tricky.
kind of annoying here because like, oh, it could just be on the active, but it's not the end of the
Yeah.
world.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna put a couple energy. I think I'll go for the Moonlit Hill here because it also locks Gabe out of the option of recovering a Cresselia or something. So if I do find the Curlia, then um, then I can evolve it, and it's a bit more protected by bumping this stadium. And yeah, I'm not going to search for it because I know there was no super odd getting Iono to the bottom.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of where not having boss's orders might come back to bite you a little bit. Because if I'm able to like go, like I can more safely attack with EX next turn, or not attack with EX, but I can more safely put EX on the field, knowing that I can tie the prize trade back up, knowing you don't have boss's order Zacian. So that's another situation where it's like, yes, it did help like at the beginning of the game, but if they are able to survive that early game, you kind of get put in this like situation where you lose a lot of control over, um, you know, a once pretty good spot here. So
Yeah, so I have the option of attaching an energy here, but I think I might want to put it onto the Ralts or something. It doesn't really matter on the active. Um, I could like attach the reversal preemptively. Now it's not worth it in case Gabe like puts the Gardevoir EX in play and then like Ionos me into counter catcher, then I might be like close. I guess I could just put the basic psychic on the active though, so that all I need is the reversal. Um, yeah, I'll just do that. I'm not sure really what the correct thing is here. I'm just trying to play somewhat fast so we get get the time done.
all right, we're just gonna promote this. I know that reversal should be close, as it was Iono to the bottom, and so I'm not going to use level ball or anything like that here. We'll just Arcana first, see what we get. 1, 2. Refinements. Need reversal or EX. One of those two cards will get me to where I want to be. There is the EX, which is huge. I also have Super Rod as well. I can use the Super Rod, putting back in Curlia. Cresselia doesn't seem too useful here because you're going into one prize, so I need to win the game the next turn. So we'll put these back into the deck. Go level ball. Getting Curlia. Putting down Curlia. Level ball again. Getting Ralts down. I know I have rare candy as well in the prize cards. I think we'll just level ball again. Dumping this one. Refinementing away Curlia. Drawing 2. And then we'll embrace KO. So yeah, kind of like what I said though. I know that I have, I think there's 2 candies in there. Unless I was missing them in my brain. But if there are, I do have rare candy Arcana now in my hands. So let's go here. And then
Yeah, I think you just have to attack. There's 1 minute left.
yeah, 1 minute left. I think we got enough time to figure it out. Yeah, I think we got enough time here.
Yeah, this is another interesting about Gardevoir. Like I remember in one of Rowan Stavenaw's videos, he covered this topic a lot. But there's a lot of situations where in timed best of 3, you have to sacrifice playing optimally for just playing actions, so you don't end up tying a ton with this deck.
Yeah.
Which is one thing. I desperately need to find my my super odds here. I don't have very many options. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for a discard on the battle VIP pass with this refinement and hope it pays off. Otherwise, I'm kind of in a tricky position. Okay, I did find the super odd, thankfully, so I can get back the Screamtail and take the knockout on the active with the Screamtail. And then yeah, hopefully find some way like the Zacian in my hand to get the knockout on the next turn. I'm probably gonna put the Greninja back in the deck just as having it as an out to draw more. I don't really need to put I can also put the Gardevoir because I'm assuming my Curly is gonna live. There's no point in putting Ralts or Curly's back because the game's gonna end before I get the chance to use them. So yeah, I'll shuffle back Screamtail, Radiant Greninja, and Gardevoir, and then go ahead and grab the Screamtail to attack with this turn. And so there is like a bit of a debate of like benching the Zacian this turn, but I think with Gabe only down one counter catcher, not boss. It's too likely that he'll have access to it, especially at 5-card hand. At least the top deck plus the refinement, probably able to get another refinement online. Yeah, very likely to have the counter catcher somewhere. So I'm just going to go for the Screamtail knockout. And then I think I'll also, I have the option of like attaching the reversal energy somewhere, but I think I'm just going to keep that around as an out to be able to use Radiant Greninja in case, yeah, any situation, anything weird happens. I'll have that as an extra out to draw more cards. And then, yeah, I'll just go for the attack and see if Gabe has the game this turn.
Got 57 seconds to do it. So.
Yep.
So an interesting
Let's
thing
see
as
it.
well is you're actually quite low on energy still. So I don't know if I actually have to win this turn.
Yeah, an attack
don't
with
know if you can
Gardevoir EX could be fine.
Yeah. I'll go
Um,
refinements. Dumping 1. Evolve into Arcana. Shining Arcana. And there is the counter catcher.
and so yeah, that's. Don't worry about attaching the energies. You're not gonna have enough time. You'll lose
Yeah,
before
I'm not
then.
gonna have enough time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the 9 energies for the KO. Really close game. Yeah, as I said, I think my last couple prizes were candies. So it made it a little bit weird, but yeah. That's the game. Nothing really else to show. I don't think it'll pause it out or
Yeah,
I don't think
it's 7 seconds. Let's see what happens. I don't even
that
know.
It's close. It's gonna be close. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
3 seconds. No, it actually every time it Yeah,
Oh, wow,
No.
yeah.
Looks like I win anyway.
Yeah.
Haha.
Very cool.
But
Thank you,
like, yeah.
PTCG Live. You can just stay on
Yeah.
this screen while we kind of talk about just any comments you want to make about decisions you made during the match. That thinking about it more, you kind of want to go over more, or just kind of take back or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a great game to show because of how back and forth like the board positions were. Like my start was much better than Gabe's. I got the Mirage set, but I did prize a Curlia. And then I spent one turn basically doing nothing but attacking with my Gardevoir EX, and then couldn't find super odds for a while. So my board slowly got worse as more and more things got knocked out. And then Gabe was able to take it back in the end because if I had more draw on that last turn, I could have found the game or just find an Iono to end up disrupting Gabe enough to where he doesn't close it out with the counter catcher.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the biggest thing, really from I guess my experience from playing this matchup is whether or not you prize a curly or not. Like I've had like multiple games where I've fallen behind in the matchup and they prized a curly and I just was able to slowly like come back. And like another thing is like Avery, in that matchup wasn't necessarily super game changing. It was now it didn't come up at the right times, but I think that's one of the issues with like the Averys. That in theory it's really good, but in some spots you need to use it early game before they have a full bench. When games kind of get weird like that, it kind of loses its value because like for example my board was very very thin at one point, so something like Avery wasn't able to capitalize on a whole lot of situations where my Cresselia was definitely a huge thing in that matchup as I prized my Screamtail. So, that was a huge thing. Having both of those options seemed a little bit more impactful than Avery in that game just from, that one game. Obviously, things can be different throughout, sets of Pokemon, but was, kind of interesting to see that, interaction of tech cards.
Yeah, I think Avery is like a really great card when both players have like a near ideal setup. The player with Avery can get a huge advantage with that. Yeah, you really have to find Avery on one of the earliest turns. Not turn 1, but turn 2 or 3 is really when it's the best. And so if you're able to get like a full board of refinements and shiny arcanas, having access to like all those draw potentials like gives you a good chance of finding the Avery, and it could really swing that position because it effectively turns a great start into a mediocre start for the opponent. But in the game like this, where we both had pretty mediocre starts, Gabe even in a worse start than me, but able to pull it off. Um, by like me missing that one turn, yeah, the Avery doesn't matter there because we're both in that bad position already. So it was just a draw 3 for me and nothing more.
Right. Any last minute comments on this matchup? Any last minute advice? Any big takeaways that your regular player should have when they approach this matchup inevitably at their locals?
I mean, I think my like biggest piece of advice is just don't fall into like a habit of like doing the same thing every game,
Hmm.
or like making a decision just because it worked out in a previous game. Like very small things can like completely change the way you're forced to play this matchup. So even if a board state looks very similar, just being down like one extra counter catcher than you normally have access to could completely change what the correct action is to do. And energy being trapped on different things can change what you want. So yeah, don't always like just go for the obvious play. Yeah, take your time to consider every factor. And yeah, it's a really good matchup for just learning like yeah the intricacies of and the importance of like the difference of one card being in one position versus another.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that, things like boss's orders, very, very important. Counter catcher as well. I guess a couple like other things, because this game was a little bit unconventional,
Hmm.
was Professor Toro and Collapse Stadium oftentimes come up. Utilize those cards when you're trying to protect the lead. One of obviously the easiest ways that the opposing Gardevoir player will retake the lead is with a counter catcher reversal, Shining Arcana KO. So having things like the Professor Toro, having cards like the Collapse Stadium do give you spots where you can, remove that like EX from play, leave all of your, Pokemon as one prizes, which guarantees that you will protect the lead on that next turn. You'll always go into that next turn at very worst, tied in prizes, meaning that once you take the next knockout, you'll be back in the lead. So that's another thing as well, definitely, like pretty important to look at. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys both so much. And that's it for our Gardevoir EX mirror match. I hope you're all able to learn something from that very strange game. If you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.